Imagine going to Yellowstone to see the beautiful scenery and wildlife when all of a sudden the peacefulness of it all is ruined by noises of men drilling oil, and it ruins the whole tranquility of the environment. This is what the National Wildlife Federation works to not have. They work to protect lands and leave them as they are, naturally supposed to be and not tampered with. The National Wildlife Federation should matter to all of us because they work to protect our public lands like local, state, and national parks. I'm qualified to talk about it because I believe in protecting the environment. The National Wildlife Federation works to protect lands for wildlife by going to Congress to discuss policies, creating funds to protect lands, and making sure development on the lands is used correctly. An example of efforts that the National Wildlife Federation has worked on is the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes have become polluted and is unsafe for the wildlife and people using it. In 1969, the Lake Erie caught on fire just because it was so polluted. Lake Erie was even pronounced dead in the 1960s. This information is from CanadianGeographic.com. In the 18th and 19th century, the lakes and rivers were used as garbage cans, and raw sewage and animal carcasses were also thrown into the waterways. Pollution is causing aquatic diseases and deformities within the fish, and it found fish with large tumors and three-legged frogs in them. There were also cross-billed syndrome, PCBs, and fern exposure. And in this chart, you can see these are all the different types of toxic levels within each lake for all the fish that are in them. Humans consuming these fish can cause them to have reproductive problems like cancer and neurological disorders. This information is from GreatLakes.net. All the lakes are known to have PCBs, mercury, lead, and pesticides. Since all this happened, that's when people started to realize something needed to be done, and that is when the cleanup for all of it began. The National Wildlife Federation works to fix the Great Lakes by restoring wildlife and making it suitable for people again by using the donations for funding. Great Lakes Legacy passed in 2002 to clean up the lakes. 1.7 million pounds of the contaminants have been removed from the lake. There are 5 different cleanups being used. This information is from scientificamerican.com. The National Wildlife Federation funded the comprehensive plan to restore the lakes and clean up toxic sediment in it. This information is from nationalwildlifefederation.org. The initiative stops non-native marine like zebra mussels and Asian carp. These species can destroy the natural habitat. Initiatives striving to find a way to reduce runoff from farms, yards, and factories from going into the water. These things foul the water and create algal blooms that make drinking water harmful. This info is from EPA.gov. The cleanup helped a lot and changed the lake for the better, especially for the wildlife. Cleaning the Great Lakes has improved the quality of the water, and a lot of people can now use the lakes. The lakes are used for recreation, environmental activities. It can now be used for viable drinking water and food from the fish. You can go fishing out and get all different types of fish. The beaches are open for people to use, and a lot of people use them in the warm summer months. Tourists can come visit to see the Great Lakes, and a lot of people around the world come to see them. The cleanup had a change on the lake, and you can owe a lot of that to the National Wildlife Federation for stepping in to help. The National Wildlife Federation works hard to protect wildlife by going through Congress to create policies, creating funds to protect lands, and making sure developments on the lands are being used correctly. Just this year, Congress decided to take away the money for the restoration program, which is $2.6 million and a third of their money. Now is the time to donate money to the organization to keep improving the Great Lakes. Just go to the National Wildlife Federation website and click on the click donate at the top, which is right here. Thank you.
Not quite 5 minutes.
Really?